Good evening, everybody. Welcome to round 12, the penultimate round of our 1980 DRM Division II series, coming to you once again from the Hockenheim Ring. I am Jason White. I will be our play-by-play announcer for this race and the next one. It's a doubleheader tonight. That's right, double your pleasure, double your fun. The final two rounds of the 1980 DRM Division II series. This actually counts as races from our 2025 calendar, so we bled a little bit over into 2026. But this should be a really fun night of racing. We're glad to have you with us. And right now, while the warm-up session is going on, let's run down the top 10 in qualifying for you. And it should be no shock, really, who's on the pole, given how he's been doing lately. Starting on the pole, Liam Dolan with a time of 2 minutes, 3.384 seconds. In second, about 0.888 seconds behind, is Ruben Fernandez. In third, Juha Boss. Fourth, Grant Riddall. Fifth, Nicholas Kirsten. Sixth, David Watman. Seventh, David Saber. Eighth, Cesare Slipinski. Ninth, Ray Riddall. And 10th is John Team. That's your top 10 ahead of this round, the 12th round, second to last one for our 1980 DRM Division II series. So let's jump right in and take a look at the track itself. For the final two rounds of this series, we'll be using the Hockenheim full layout, not the small layout. So our drivers will be hurtling through the pine forest at a very high rate of speed. Under these conditions, precision braking for the chicanes that you see there and for the stadium section are going to be of paramount importance. You cannot overshoot those. And if you're too early when you brake, you're just going to let somebody by you. So you have to know precisely where your braking points are there. And the other challenge tonight is staying in the slipstream, because if you lose the slipstream of the cars in front of you, they will drive away, and then you're left with a kind of boring middle-of-the-pack run for the rest of the race. That's not just the case with these cars. It's the case, you see it in F1 many times, where drivers lose the slipstream and they're just out there on their own, a very lonely run. And that's one thing that both of our turbocharged drivers and definitely the normally aspirated drivers will not want to happen. This race will be two different rounds, as I said, round 12 and 13. This is the round 12 broadcast, and it'll be 16 laps. So there's limited time there to advance your position, not unlike many of the other rounds in this series. So let's go ahead now and take a look at the point standings going into round 12. And I have been assured by Juha, by the way, that there is zero possibility of the dropped score rule affecting the championship outcome. So thank goodness we don't have to do the complicated mental math. Just simple mathematics will tell us who is going to win the championship tonight. We won't know after this race, but we will know after the next one. Well, actually, I suppose there is a chance that someone could lock it up before we get to the second one, but we'll let Juha determine that when he tabulates the points. Anyway, in first right now in the points, Liam Dolan, who's been just on fire the last several races with 124 points. Nicholas Kirsten is in second with 111 points, still within shouting distance. In third, Juha Boss with 75 points. In fourth, you have Matthew Sibignani. He has 72 points, and he's actually not going to be here this evening. Had other commitments, so he's not going to be able to compete. And then you have Grant Riddall in fifth with 52 points, just pipping, I believe it was David Saber there, of 51 before. And real quickly, let's go through the point scheme for this 1980 DRM Division II series. 20 points for first, 15 for second, 12 for third, 10 for fourth, 8 for fifth, and then 6, 4, 3, 2, and 1. On down the line, top 10 scoring points. You have to cross the finish line after the winning driver has crossed in order for you to collect your points and be classified. Best 11 results count towards the championship total, and since there have been instances where there are blanks, where drivers have not scored points at least twice in the top 2 or 3, the chances of the drop score rule being a problem are nil. So we don't have to worry about that, as I said before. Oh, we'd also like to say, we should have announced this earlier, but we'll announce it now. We capped off last year's Lukashvili Trophy at 4 races. We just couldn't schedule 5. So that effectively means that the series is run, and Grant Riddall is the champion there. So Grant Riddall won the championship in kart competition, and he wins it here in the Lucas Vidra Trophy with 60 points. John Team finished in second with 46. Juha Bosch finished in third with 37. Alberto Aquino finished fourth with 30 points. And then you have August Watring there, who took part in the 500, and I believe he also took part in the Goodwood event, and that put him in fifth place in points with 29 points. So a top 5 finish for August. He doesn't get to race with us very often, but it's nice to see him score a top 5 in a championship. That's really cool. So let's go out and track now and see if we can find somebody to hitch a ride to show us this Temple of Speed. Page through here and find somebody who's just about done with their lap. Here's Drexler. We haven't seen much of Drexler lately, actually, now that I think about it. But we're going to go around the track with him. He's in the stadium section now, assuming he's going to do another lap. Let's see what happens here. Uh-oh. Are we already going to the race session? Let's see. No, we have actually restarted the warm-up. So apparently somebody dropped out of the warm-up and is not available there. So we have to restart it to make sure they get back in. While we're waiting for that to happen, coming up at ISO, we've already announced our first races for the year. We know that F165 is on everybody's mind, and I know that everyone's really anxious to get started with that. And that information, that thread should be coming hopefully soon. In the meantime, we've scheduled our first 2 rounds for the Lucas Vidra Trophy of 2026, and that is the AvD, whatever that says, Rennen Hungaroring. This is going to be 2 rounds in one evening on Sunday, January 18th. The thread for this is already up on the forum. The entry list will open tomorrow at 2000 CET, so anyone who wants to take part. I know that we have many touring car fans in this league, so here's your chance to have a couple of quick sprints at the Hungaroring. It's 1988 DTM, incidentally. That's the type of cars that are there. So that has been announced. Definitely take part in that if you want to get your feet wet getting into the 2026 racing calendar. And I'm sure there'll be stuff forthcoming about the 1965 Formula One season as well. Trivia question for you to ponder this evening. Who won the last Formula One Grand Prix held on the full version of the Hockenheimring, you can see it there, in 2001? Was it A, Juan Pablo Montoya? Was it B, Ralf Schumacher? Or was it C, Rubens Barrichello? We'll have the answer for you at the end of round 13. So let's see if we have anybody here who's on a lap, but it's going to take them a second to get around. Here is Schlapinski on his way around. I'm just going to go ahead and jump on board with him because I don't know when we're going to be cutting away. Here he is going through the first chicane, and you'll notice he's slithering all over the place. This is to be expected because the cars are going to be trimmed out to the point where they get the maximum terminal velocity that they can. You don't want to have big wings on this course. This is just going to kill you down the straight. And what that means is that when you go through the chicanes or the Ost curve or into the stadium section, this is the Ost curve coming up here, you have very minimal downforce, which means we can see a lot of cars. See, he's having to apply a little bit of opposite lock there just to keep the car going straight. Oop, missed a shift there. But this is a situation where you absolutely have to be on top of everything because the car can get away from you very easy with little or no downforce. Now watch this. He's using the curbs, and you see how much he's having to counter steer here, and the car is literally trying to get out from underneath him because he has very minimal downforce so he can get the maximum speed on the straights. And that's going to make pinpoint braking and shutting off for these very important points like this one all the more difficult. This is the stadium section that Cesarius is entering now, and you can see all the people in attendance. Those people weren't in attendance when we had our, what was the other round we had here? It was very sparse, the attendance. Anyway, it's just ones and zeros. Heading through the backside of the stadium section now, and now 2 right-hand turns that are banked quite generously. That'll take Cesarius back on to the main straight, and hopefully he'll take us for another lap here, and we can have a look at the circuit. Yes, he does. All right, crossing line. This is the main straight where the pits are on the right. Downshifting now for the first turn. The north curve, dipping in here, and you can see it runs over the curbs a bit. And now it's just a flat-out acceleration out into the pine forest. Yes, Happy New Year, everybody. I was so wrapped up in getting ready for this broadcast, I forgot to say Happy New Year to everybody. Wishing you all the very best in 26. Now, downshifting into the first chicane, right, and then back to the left. And you can see how he's having to use the curbs really to not only get the maximum out of the car, but keep it under control. Now they're almost like stops they're almost like bumper guards in bowling. Now coming down this gracefully, curving straightaway, now into the Ost curve, which in later years would involve a rather strange chicane and then a much more deliberate one after that, exiting the Ost curve. Now we're heading back the other way on the circuit. There's going to be one more chicane, a left-right combination here. This is actually the fastest of the two chicanes. You can carry a little more speed into this one. And you can see the straight-on road there that you don't want to use, unless you want your lap to not count or something bad to happen. We're scoring, now heading towards the stadium section. You can see the clearing there as the pine forest begins to thin. And now downshifting. Look, he uses all the road to the left there so he can maintain speed. Now into the stadium section. Hey, look at all the people. Downshifting now, heading into the Sachs curve, which is very banked to the left. It's a lot of fun going through here because if the car is trimmed out, you can just dirt track it through there. Now back to the right. These are the last two curbs that'll take Ślepinski onto the main straight. One more, the south curve. And you see that Pirelli building there, and that is the garage area, the scrutineers, and that is the end of a lap of Hockenheimring. Cesarius is going to go around one more time. Let's see here. Is there anything we forgot to go through? Oh, I know. The history of this race. That's one thing. Regarding the actual race in 1980, our round 12, their round 3, Harald Ertl had troubled practice, but he managed to qualify on the pole. And second on the grid was Klaus Niedzwitz, who followed Ertl closely in the race. And he did that until he overdid things and lost first his spoiler and then his engine, which is, of course, not what he wanted to happen. Although this happened and you'd think Ertl would be out in front by a long ways, it was not the case because Hans Heyer closed in on him and then passed Ertl when his turbo hose came loose. And of course, if a turbo hose comes loose, there goes the pressure, and you now have a lot less horsepower. This was the order at the finish, with Walter Brunn in third, and Hans Stuck did not do well. He had his own engine problems. So that was what actually happened in 1980 for this Division II race. And of course, this is going to be a situation where turbocharged cars just dominate. But I don't know. It's going to be a question also of can you preserve your car for the 16 laps, or are you going to overdo it to the point where it's going to blow up on you, which nobody wants to do. But at the same time, it's a horsepower test around here. It's a speed test, so it'll be interesting to see how people balance that. I'm sure we'll see at least a few engines go kablooey. I mean, that's just, just natural with everybody pushing the cars to the limit. And it's funny how everybody has plans for these races. Like, I'm going to, save this much fuel, or I'm going to turn the boost back just this much so everything's good. And then the problem becomes, I think Alberto, as Ślepinski enters the pit lane, his best quote from Mike Tyson is, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the mouth or the face, or a variation on that. But, you can have all the plans you want, but once that green light goes on, suddenly all you care about is just beating the person in front of you, and all the logic goes out the window. We've all experienced that as sim racers. I think we're going to the race session now. Yes, we are. Okay. Excellent. So let's go to the front here. And we will wait for Dolan's car has to load at this point. And then we will go through the grid for you. 17 laps on the board, so we're going to run one off without the actual. There we go. We're not going to have an actual pace car going through here, but we are going to. Let's see. There we go. All right. So everybody's going to run around at a predetermined speed, and then we'll be given the green flag in the chat. This is to avoid any kind of pace car shenanigans that would mess up the start of the race. It's the most practical way to do it, and pretty much everyone is used to this by now. All right, so we're just waiting for the chimes to tell us that the cars are going off on their parade lap. Yeah, you hear them now. And here we go. Okay, let's run through the grid. On the pole is Liam Dolan, Team Schnitzer, number 56. In second, Ruben Fernandez, D&W Zaxby team. Third is Grant Riddall, Wolfgang, well now he's fourth. Let's see, we missed Juha Boss. There he is. Third for Team Schnitzer. Hang on 1 second, I want to double check something. Yep, third is Juha Boss. Fourth, Grant Riddall, the LVT champion for 2025, the kart champion for 2025, Wolfgang Bowler, number 58. Next is Nicholas Kirsten, driving the Team Schnitzer, number 61. David Watman is in sixth for Bavaria team, number 67. David Saber is in seventh, Sachs Sporting, number 52. Eighth is Cezary Slipinski, who we were riding with a bit ago. He's in the Karl-Heinz Becker, number 57 BMW. Then we have Ray Riddall starting ninth for D&W Zaxby team in the Capri. Very smart-looking car. 10th, we have actually John Team. There he is. Sometimes I get bunched up here and it gets out of order. John Team in the number 58. It's an Escort. That's right. Not a Capri, an Escort. Then we have Mikael Drexler in 11th, driving the number 62 Weiblinger Motorsports entry. Next we have Tim Hilla. He's driving the number 33 Porsche, the only Porsche in the field. 13th, we have Jonathan Ascherklint, Carl Oppitzhauser, number 69. These are the cars that put up times, and then these are the cars that are being added at the end of the field. Bruno Chacon, driving the Jägermeister, number 66. Richard Wilkes, driving the number 51 Fruit of the Loom Lancia Beta Monte Carlo, and then rounding out the field in a one-off appearance because Sibignani could not make it is Brian Janik in the other Lancia Beta Monte Carlo. All right, so that is your grid for this round 12. You can see how Liam is just trying to bed in his tires, get some warmth into them too. Probably bedding in brakes too as he heads into the second chicane. Very long lap here, which accounts for why we only have 16 laps in the race itself. All right, here we go. Everybody coming now into or closer to the stadium section. Once they get off of the last turn, they're probably going to start to form up. I doubt we're going to see them form up in the stadium itself. There you see the cars. And man, Grant is really scrubbing in his tires. He wants to make sure that he's going to get a good launch. Coming into the stadium section now and up to the Sachs curve is Liam. Fernandez is no slouch. I'm sure he's going to give a really good college try here coming off the last turn, try to beat Liam to turn one. We'll see what happens. Liam, of course, in the points lead and would love to wrap up the championship today. Kirsten is his main competition. We'll see what happens. Got my calculator with me, and we'll find out. Okay, so here we go. Coming off of the last turn. And we're going to see if they get a race start. There it is, the race is underway. Liam Dolan is starting on the outside there, which is a preferred line. And look at this, Fernandez on the inside. Oh, it looked like he was going to get alongside him, but no, he's not. Liam Dolan takes the lead going down the long straight here. Fernandez in second. And look at that. Look at Juha Boss. He is pulling out to try to pass Fernandez on the straightaway. Accelerating now. Here's Boss. He's actually in second now, scored as second. Coming into the first chicane. He's going for the lead. Going into the chicane. Is he going to get it done? He's on the inside, but now he's on the not so preferred line. No, he slips back into second place. As the cars traverse the first chicane, everybody seems to be okay except, well, Chacon's a little bit behind, but no problem there. Look at this, almost 3 wide for a second there. Juha now coming up the inside, boost cranked up. He wants to take the lead before they get to the Ost curve. He is technically in the lead right now. Coming through the Ost curve. Everybody doing their best to stay to the right and do not go onto the grass there. Juha is now in the lead. Dolan slips down to second. We have 1 DNF already, and that is Jonathan Asserklint. I'd love to go back and find out what happened there, but we got to stick with the leaders here. Juha in first, Dolan second. Fernandez is in third now. Then we have Kirsten, Grant Riddall, David Saber, David Watman, Schlipinski, John Thiem, and Richard Wilkes. Heading back to the stadium for the first time here as all the cars are coming down towards that turn, heading in. You can see them all there. Everybody seems to be in pretty good trim except for the 1 DNF. We have to look at the chopper shot here, heading into the Sachs curve. There's a yellow flag here. I'm not sure what that's about, but it looks like Juha's maintaining his lead quite well. Dolan just slotted in there. He's not in any big hurry. The big thing for him to be concerned about is where Kirsten is, and he is currently 4th. Grant Riddall is out of the race. So we have 2 DNFs now. Let's see what the replay says. Grant is actually running off the track here. I wonder what happened here. Let's run it back here, see what happens. He ran it off into the gravel. He runs it into the gravel here, and that's not a situation he can't that's not a situation that he can't recover from. Oh goodness, he almost took out Wilkes there. His engine's running. That's strange. He just decides he just doesn't want to go further, I guess. And that's it. Huh. All right. All right, so coming back now, actually, this is not a live shot. There we go. Juha in first. He's beginning to pull out a little bit of a gap. And you have Dolan in second. Then you have Fernandez in third, and he's being challenged by Kirsten. This is significant because Kirsten is the closest competition to Dolan and the only other one that's likely to win the championship or have a shot. So Kirsten sees what he sees in front of him right now. He's not necessarily thinking about, I want to get past Fernandez. He's thinking, I want to get past Dolan in front of me here. That's the only shot he has at a championship here, is if he can beat Dolan. As they come through the, oh my goodness, a lot of agricultural driving from Fernandez there, but this is a big opportunity for Kirsten. Kirsten's got a roll, and he is going to pull out and pass Fernandez because Fernandez lost momentum on the grass there. Yeah, this is good for Kirsten. Kirsten now has, yes, he's able to slide up the inside. He's got third place, and Fernandez is running off the track. He's going to lose more positions if that's the case. Now it looks like he's going to stay in fourth here, but this puts Kirsten in contact with Dolan now. So Dolan in second. As they come through the final turn here, Dolan on the brakes of it there, locks up for a second. So here you go. This is your championship competition right here between Dolan and Kirsten. They're in direct contact with each other. No cars in between, and we have plenty of time to go in this race to see how this plays out. Boss really does not figure into this championship fight at this point. If we look at the points real quick, you'll see what I mean. Well, Juha is actually in third, but probably not in a position to win the championship. But Kirsten and Dolan are definitely in the conflict here, and how this shakes out is going to have a huge impact on the championship. Remember, this is the first of 2 rounds this evening. my goodness, that was a missed shift by Nicholas Kirsten. He doesn't want to do that too often. So further back here, Fernandez solidified in 4th, Saber 5th, Szaplinski is in 6th, David Watman 7th, 8th is Richard Wilkes, 9th is John Team, and then we have 10th, Ray Riddall rounding out the field, his teammate, a little further up the order. Looks like Wilkes might be trying to overtake Watman here. No, he needs a little bit more time to pull that off. A little bit more space. Looks like a little bit of dust kicked up by David Saber there. Kirsten's still in 3rd. He's starting to lose touch with these two, which is not what he wants. Dolan following U-Haul Boss here as they head into the stadium section. Downshifting. And you can just barely see Kirsten in the mirrors there of Dolan. Number 20 points for first, so we got to do some quick math. Let's look at this. Dolan is now right up with Boss. If he could get those full 20 points, it would definitely be helpful. Better than 16. Heading out into the forest again, and it does look like Dolan is continuing to stretch out the space between him and Nicholas Kirsten. Heading down the straight again. Uh-oh, looks like Saber back there had a little bit of an off-course excursion. Look at that, there's Szaplinski trying to overtake David Saber on the inside, and Wilkes has made it past David Watt. And David Saber made it past Szaplinski. Szaplinski down to 6th. See if he can counterattack here. It looks like he's got a bit of a roll going here. Again, you got to trim the car out a lot for this race to make sure that there are no issues with terminal velocity, as there's a little bit of dust kicked up there by somebody. That could be distracting. And Boss has got himself a little bit of a cushion now, so he's got a little bit more comfort room. A little more of a comfort zone between himself and Dolan. Heading now into the stadium section. Dolan, Kirsten, Fernandez. Now we got a bit of a gap before we get to Saber in his Capri, and then Szaplinski, Wilkes, David Watman. It looks like Ray Riddall's looking at the Capri there of John Team. Coming into the stadium section, or now out of it, and into the front straight is U-Haul Boss, completing another lap. Looks like he's in really good shape. He just gets to make sure to not tax the engine too much. Dolan in 2nd, 3rd is Kirsten, 4th Fernandez, 5th is Saber, 6th is Szaplinski, 7th is Wilkes, stretching out the space there between himself. Everybody's kind of on their own now, not too much going on. So, but look at this. Here is Fernandez right on the back end of Kirsten. Looks like he might have a little bit of a roll here. Maybe he's going to try to go by. Yes, he's going by on the inside. Ruben picks up 3rd place. Kirsten down to 4th. That is not what Kirsten wants to happen, because that's less points and less of a chance that he can challenge Liam Dolan for the championship. So that definitely is not a development that he's going to like. But it's not over yet. There's still a good chance that you can get back around him, and you don't know about how people are straining their engines. People could be stretching them too far. For all we know, Liam Dolan may have pushed his engine too hard in certain cases, and the engine may blow up. I don't hope that happens, but I'm just saying there's always that possibility. So you just keep going and hope that things roll your way. Circumstances turn out to be in your favor. Kirsten entering the 2nd chicane. It's really hairy going through there, trying to stay within those curbs and keep the momentum up as you're going through. It's a lot of work. Look at this. Dolan's closed back up on Boss again, so there may be another chance for him to take the lead here, and that would have huge implications in the championship fight because he'd then get max points if he stayed there. But he's shadowing. Keep in mind, these two are teammates. They're both running the Aeroheck version of the BMW 320 Turbo. They have unique bodywork on these cars that allegedly is more aerodynamic. There is one other Schnitzer entry, and that is actually going to be, that is Kirsten. And he does not have the benefit of this bodywork. Now, how much that is helping or hindering him on this track, God only knows, or probably Wilkes would know because he did the physics. But if it's supposed to be that these two cars, the ones in front, the Aeroheck variety, are the more slipstream friendly of the two cars, the more aerodynamically trimmed out cars, and that would seem to be playing out because Kirsten is in third and can't seem to catch up to them. He's definitely lost the draft at this point, so it's definitely going to be hard for him to close up, but he's got other problems to worry about. He got back by Fernandez, but Fernandez is going to try to attack him again here at some point. Fernandez does not figure into the points battle. He's going to be a spoiler here if he gets in between himself and Kirsten. Coming down to the Ost curve. We saw some drivers swinging out wide. Like there's Fernandez. He's kind of swinging out wide, squaring off the Ost curve. Maybe and very, very squirrely on exit. But he's alongside Kirsten now. And here he comes on the inside. Not really set up well for the next chicane. But is he going to overtake Kirsten? Yes, he is. And he gets it done before the chicane. Very, very good move by Fernandez, although he runs a bit wide. That's going to cost him some momentum. Can Kirsten get back by? Kirsten's going back to the outside. The outside as far as this turn is coming up, but I don't think he has the acceleration to get Fernandez. No, he does not. So Fernandez maintains third position into the stadium section. But he has kind of a sloppy exit there, so maybe Kirsten can get him going into the Sachs curve. No, not enough momentum. This is a great battle between these two. Like I've said before, Kirsten definitely has a incentive to get by Fernandez as quickly as possible because every lap that ticks by is less time and less space for him to try to catch his nemesis in the points, Liam Dolan. Into turn one once again. Let's have a look at the leaders, see how they're doing. And look at this. Here is Dolan, pulled out, trying to pass his teammate, Juha Boss, on the straight. He ducks back inside. Now he's going to the outside. He's trying to find the best way around. And he's not going to do it this lap, it looks like, or at least not on this corner, the first chicane here. Boss continues to lead, and there's Dolan, his teammate, in second place. And then here comes Fernandez. Kirsten in fourth. And here comes in fifth, David Saber. Sixth, Wilkes. Seventh, Schlepinski. Schlepinski's starting to get closer there to Wilkes. Then Wattman, Team, and Rayverdahl going for a bit of a lawn mowing session there. And Juha Boss is maintaining his position in and out of the Ost curve. Chopper shot here as they head through the second chicane. Boss has had kind of bad luck in this series, if you want to be honest about it. He's had races where he's done really well, and then others where he could have done really well, but then something goes wrong with the car. Usually the engine goes or something. So I'm sure Boss is looking to cap off this series with a win or two. And also, he's probably thinking, too, that if he finishes in first, that's not only points for him, but it's points that he's taking away from Kirsten. So there's also that added dimension going on here. I don't know how much Boss and Dolan are working together, but, you know, the funny thing is, it's like there's an Aeroheck team, and then there's Kirsten and the other Schnitzer, which is not of the Aeroheck variety. So come through first turn again. There's Fernandez. Kirsten struggling to hold on now. So it's an interesting development. As they now head back into the pine forest. And Boss now pulling out a bit of a lead. So if he can, he's getting to the point now where he possibly could break the draft, and that's what he wants to do if he can do it. But again, it's like if you have a sloppy chicane somewhere in here, you can give up all that space and all that momentum, and then it's very easy for the guy stalking you to close right back up again. So I'm sure that's on Boss's mind at the same time. Wonder about brake wear on these cars too, how much brake wear there is with having to stop so suddenly. They have a lot of time to cool off in between these spots, so maybe it's not a big deal. Again, it's another question for Wilkes. All right, heading down a long straight once again. The one that leads into the second chicane. Boss bounding over the curbs. Dolan in second. Fernandez fairly well established in third. Then you have Kirsten, then Saber. Pretty much everyone is spread out at this point. Yeah, if Dolan wants to challenge for the lead, he's going to, I think, Boss is going to have to make a mistake somewhere at this point, because Boss is really well placed, and the race is basically, we are past the halfway point now, so he's probably going to need Boss to make a mistake or have a DNF in order to get to the lead. But he knows that Kirsten's in fourth. He knows that, well, look at this. He's right up with Boss now. Boss had a slow exit from the south curve. Now they head into the north curve. All important how you get out of here. Nice exit by Dolan there, so maybe he has a shot here at the lead. He's certainly with Boss in terms of pace. The other thing about this, these cars are set up with tall gears on these long straights so that they don't redline at the end of the, before they get to the chicane. 300, 200, 100. The cars are braking between the 100 and 200 marker there through the first chicane. And look at that, Dolan definitely got a better exit than Boss there. Can he get him before the Ost curve? Boss protecting the inside line. He's not blocking, he's just choosing his line. He's in front of Dolan, he's entitled to that. Downshifting now for the Ost curve. Really working that wheel is Liam Dolan. The exit, he's right on the back bumper of Boss now. He's got a great shot here to possibly take the lead, but Boss is going to make him go around the inside if he wants to do it. But they both break about the same time for the second chicane. This is exciting stuff. Heading through the second chicane. Now accelerating for the stadium, and Boss got out of there a little cleaner than Liam did. And you still got Fernandez back there, then Kirsten. One of the nice things about the Hockenheim ring is on these long straights, you can look back and see with your plain eyes the distances between cars. It's pretty easy to see one from the other where they're doing. But look at this, right with Boss in the Sachs curve. And alongside now is Liam Dolan. Oh, man. Just couldn't get alongside there. Almost was alongside, but he is right with Boss now. Back onto the main straight, out of the south curve. Heading into turn number one, the south curve. Or that'd be the north curve, actually. Sorry. Stalemate at the moment here, coming down to chicane number one. Look at how far back Kirsten is now. He's totally lost touch with Fernandez, which is not a good situation, although there's some dust kicked up there by Fernandez. But yeah, you can see the distance here between Kirsten, Team Schnitzer, number 61, and Fernandez. So that's really, he's not really in a position to have any impression on this situation. Dolan definitely hounding Boss here for the lead. Oh my goodness, Fernandez all over the place back there. And that could allow Kirsten to close in. Wilkes in 5th back there. This is the battle for the lead once again. Dolan right with Boss as they come through the chicane. Looks like he got a good exit too. Well, Boss is a little bit further away this time. We have about 6 laps to go in this sprint. And then we'll have to total up the points and see what we have exiting the Sachs curve, now through this left-right combination, up towards the south curve. 5 laps to go this time by. Oh, look at this! Big, huge opportunity here for Dolan. I think he might have got balked a little bit there. He's going up the inside. Is he going to take the position? Yes! Dolan into the lead. Dolan takes the lead in round number 12 here, and here comes Juha right back. No, actually, he's going to slip back behind. He needed a little bit more air, a little bit more of a hole punch in the air, but he's now alongside Dolan as they sprint down the straight to the first chicane. Juha once again has the lead on the inside, but is Dolan going to overlap him? Yes, he is. Wow, look at that. He went by on the outside. He just braked a little bit later than Boss and was able to get it done. Fantastic driving by Liam Dolan to overtake Boss and put his car in the lead. And this has the potential here of really locking things up as far as the championship goes. But here's Boss right with him still. This is not over yet. They have a car coming up here that they have to lap. I just caught a brief glimpse of it. It looks like it's Chacon. Yes, it's Bruno Chacon. So I'm sure that Chacon's not going to make a problem for either of them. Interesting. Boss flashed his lights there. I'm not sure what that was about. But here comes, maybe it was to alert Chacon, but they're going through the chicane. Now Chacon gets out of the way so he doesn't become involved in this scrap for the lead. He let Fernandez through as well. So Dolan is now starting to pull out a tiny bit of a gap, but he's got to get through these chicanes in the stadium as fast as he can. He cannot rest for a minute. Second. Through the Sachs curve. There's Liam Dolan. And you see Fernandez there. And there's going to be a long gap now back to, there's Kirsten. Runs a bit on the grass there. So Dolan looking at a possible victory here as now he's starting to stretch it out. He's stretching out his gap between himself and his teammate Boss. So looks like it could be going in his favor here. Let's take a look at the points one more time. So Dolan right now has 124. If you add 20 points to that, that gives him 144. Kirsten has 111 points, and he's currently in 4th place. So that means if he's in 4th, he's going to get 10 points, which will give him 121. And in that case, if things finish the way they are, that would mathematically make Liam Dolan the champion. Second place for Boss, and if we look back at the first points here, 75. And if we add his points to that for this 15, that would give him 90 points. So based on where they are now, if they finish the way they are, Liam Dolan will have wrapped up the championship before we get to round number 12. Or sorry, no, round number 13. This is 12. But wait a minute. Hold the phone. Here comes Boss. Back on the inside, and he takes the lead. Let's Let's see if Dolan can counteract here in any way, because that does actually throw it back open again, because then Dolan will only get 140 points and still 121 for Kirsten if he's in fourth, which means there is a 19-point gap there, which technically means that it's still an open championship. But look at this. Here comes Dolan on the inside. Is he turning up the boost? He's going for the inside. Is he going to get Juha before the turn? No, he's not. But look at this. While they've been fighting, Fernandez has closed in. Fernandez now is making this a 3-car battle. Fantastic stuff. Boss stretches it out a bit now, and now Dolan has got the problem of having to deal with Fernandez at the same time. Fernandez has got nothing to lose. Dolan pulls out. Is he going to try to pass for the lead here? Yes, he is. He goes to the inside for the first chicane. He's on the inside. He takes the lead again. Dolan is back in front once again, and back where he needs to be to win the championship in this round. Boss back to second. Now he has to worry about Fernandez also. 3-car battle here for the lead in round 12. Fantastic stuff. Great racing. I told you this was going to be a good race, and that's what we're getting. So we learn now apparently that Jonathan had some kind of lag issue on his end. So that's why he was out of the race so quickly. Hopefully he'll be able to correct that before the next race. Dolan enters the second chicane, looking very, very good. Now he's in a great spot because, well, Fernandez has had a tendency to run off the road in this race, and that actually is to his detriment now, because now he's out of it with this battle for the lead. Here comes Boss at the inside. He's going to try once again for the lead. But no, Dolan breaks just a little bit later than Boss does, and he's able to maintain the lead into the stadium section. Fantastic, fantastic stuff. Looking from the chopper here. These are the top 3 right here, and up until recently they were all running together, but Fernandez running off in the grass, that does really, it's like pulling out a parachute on a track like this. So now into lap 15. We have 3 laps to go now. Lap 15, 16, and 17, according to the chart there. The first lap that was run off was for the pace lap, as you all know. Heading into turn number 1 and out of it. So once again, to point out the point situation, Kirsten is in 4th place, and the lead is now Liam Dolan. So if we look at the point standings, or the point scheme, 20 points goes to the winner, 10 points goes to 4th. So those 10 points would leave Kirsten with 121, and the 20 points going to Dolan, we give him 144, and the difference between 144 and 121 is more than 20 points, so that would mean that Dolan will have wrapped up the championship if he can stay in the lead. If he drops behind Boss, then it pushes that until the next round based on where Kirsten is at the moment. And you saw there that Boss glanced off the curb, and that, oh my goodness, Lipinski out of the race. Let's see what happened here. Or did it happen too far back? Looks like it happened too far back. Well, we better stay with the leaders in any case. Dolan in the lead, but here comes Boss once again on the outside. He's not really in the right spot to take it. No, Dolan's got the inside line, and he maintains the lead going into the stadium. When they come around this time, there will be 2 laps to go in this race. And Dolan is looking at a possible championship. Lipinski says that AMS crashed for him. So there we go. It was a software failure on the part of Lipinski. That's too bad. The nice thing about these double headers is everybody's got one more shot. Okay, look at Dolan stretch it out though. Boss in second. Fernandez in third. 2 laps to go. A little further back here since we spent so much time with it. There's Kirsten in 4th, Wilkes in 5th, Sabres 6th, Ray Riddall is in 7th. Where is David Watman? He's fallen way back, actually. David is back in 9th place now. Team is up to 8th. And Janik is 10th in the last points paying position. Drexler is in 11th outside the points, then Hill is 12th. And we mentioned before that the problem with the Porsche is that Tim Hill is giving up a lot of horsepower there. These three right together again. Fernandez gathering it up again, getting closer to this group, so maybe he'll have another shot at being a spoiler. We'll see as they head into the Ost curve. Dolan stays ahead. Coming out of the Ost curve now. 1.5 laps to go for Dolan to take the championship and the win in this race. It's been a very exciting series. These cars are basically an extension of what we had in DRM 79 as Fernandez is able to close way up in the chicane there. Uh-oh, here comes Boss on the inside. He's on the inside now. He's in the perfect spot to take the lead if he wants to. Is Dolan going to give it up? No, Dolan is deep into the corner, stays on the inside for the next corner, and maintains the lead. Fantastic driving by Dolan. And look at Fernandez. Fernandez is right there. He wants to get on in this too. Very, very exciting stuff here as we come through. We're getting ready to start the final lap in this race. Chopper shot there. Dolan, though, comes out of the south curve with a lot of a head of steam, and here we go. Final lap in this round 12. This is to determine the champion, or it will determine the champion based on where they're placed right now. Dolan has to win. Fernandez, more off-course excursions, and here's Boss. Here's another attempt to take over the lead. Is he going to get it done? There he goes. Pokes his nose out in front. Boss is in the lead for the moment. So that would mean we're kicking the can down the road for the championship if he stays where he is. Downshifting. Fernandez right with Dolan now. So take your pick. I mean, it's like who's going to have the advantage here now? Did Boss move too quickly? Is Dolan going to be able to slipstream by on the next straight? It all depends on who's going to get through the Ost curve the fastest. These tires might be a little bit worn. Dolan taking the inside line, speeding out of the Ost curve. He goes right to the outside edge of the course. He is right on the ragged edge, trying to get as much speed as he can. Heading for... All right, so downshifting now. Heading into the second chicane, into the stadium section next. I think Dolan's going to need something to happen to Boss at this point in order to get alongside him. They are right together. Here's the chopper shot. Is Dolan going to try a last-ditch effort here? He's on the outside there, but he's trying to go on the inside now for the next corner. No, he can't get alongside, but they're all right together. They're the top three. Heading into the final turn here. And now out of the last turn, onto the main straightaway, and it looks like it's going to be Juha for the win. And there it is. Juha Boss wins round 12. Dolan is in second. Third goes to Fernandez. There's Kirsten taking fourth. So by my mathematics, we're going to kick the can down the road. Kirsten has 121 points, and with that second place finish, that means that, and here goes Sabre actually. Let's finish where the cars are. Sabre finishes in 5th. Richard Wilkes in 6th place after starting towards the, I think he started towards the back. Yeah, look at all the positions he picked up, 9 places. And then John Thiem, 3 places. David Watman finishes up in 8th place, and he's not over the line yet, but he's got to get over the line in order to collect those points, is Brian Janik. Yeah, so the points now between first and second are 140 and 121. As Janik motors in. Next we have the last car in the top 10, Drexler. That was because of Ray Radal's out of the race there at the very end of the race. That's why I was wondering why Drexler was in the points, and that's why. So Drexler taking advantage of attrition. He comes through to take 10th place. And then here is Tim Hille. He's going to finish just outside the points, and he's going to be the next to last car running. The other one would be Chacon, who's a lap down. But here comes Tim Hille motoring in to take 11th place. And I believe, yeah, Ray Radal is out, and Chacon already crossed the line to take 13th place. Out of the race, Schlapinski, Grant Radal, Jonathan Asserklinth, and that was it. So your winner for this round, Juha Boss, and it pushes the championship by my calculations to the next round. So we're going to have to update our points chart before we go to the next race. And I can take care of that while I'm offline. There's going to be a bit of delay between now and when we go to the next race. All right, so I'm going to end the stream now. We're going to go over to the other stream that's launched. We're going to do that in a little bit. I want to do a bit of housekeeping first, but the winner in this one, once again, Juha Boss. Second was Liam Dolan, and third was Fernandez. Kirsten in fourth, so we have one more, albeit very, very unlikely, shot for Kirsten to get the title coming up here. It would require complete failure on the part of Liam Dolan and then Nicholas Kirsten to win the race. So, in any case, we'll see you over on the other stream. Thanks so much for watching. If you're watching this after the fact, everybody take care and be safe.